talk a little bit more Hedera. This is a story that actually hit my radar this morning, so we kind of had to slide it in. But Lloyd's Bank Arbitron used tokenized collateral for FX trades on Hedera, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a little bit more than just testing here. What we have here, UK regulated digital asset exchange Archax announced it facilitated tokenized collateral movement between Lloyd's Banking Group and Arbitron Investments to support a foreign exchange transaction. Explicitly, the transaction involved a tokenized money market fund and a tokenized UK gilt. If someone knows what that is, let me know down in the comments. Both hosted on the Hedera public permissioned DLT platform. I always like to highlight where the network is implicitly used because there is so much misinformation in this space. All right. But we have it here. The platform itself was used as part of this transaction backed by some very big players. Archax is becoming one of my favorite companies in this space because ever since they've gotten involved, ladies and gentlemen, they have been about what they said they were going to be about. And this is just further evidence of that. What we don't see, though, is full RWA offerings on Hedera yet. Clearly, they are still trying to figure out where Hedera is best at, but they're still moving tokenized assets on the platform. In addition to that, Archax will be facilitating staking because Archax also does institutional crypto custody. HBAR is one of the assets that they offer. So when they have clients, custodial clients holding HBAR, they are getting yield on that HBAR. That's a private placement. Likely we won't see it, but if they're able to do it in that private environment, the retail implications are infinite. The overarching factor when it comes to Archax is where they are. FCA regulated institution in the United Kingdom. So they have the regulatory, green lights to create and distribute these products, but they can't fully promote them yet because the UK is still finalizing all of their rules around digital assets. So I've made this point in the past when we were talking about Archax and their selection of Hedera. This is great company to keep because on its own, Archax is handling its business the way it's supposed to. Let me reemphasize that a little more. Archax, this is courtesy of rwa.xyz. Since the beginning of this year, they have tokenized a little over $100 million on the XRP ledger. Money market funds, as well as a couple of other private credit offerings, if I'm not mistaken. $100 million. This was just as recent as June. It was at 113 million on the ledger. I show you that so at any point in time, when Archax is ready, they will open the floodgates on the Hedera network. They can easily open the floodgates. Now, just so we have clarity all the way around here, earlier in the show, I mentioned how Hedera may be best suited for something else, the data layer. So with the testing that Archax and the experimentation that Archax is doing on Hedera, each time they have a successful transaction, the process, the parameters are being recorded on the Hedera ledger. They'll permanently be there, which makes the next transaction easier. It also makes that next transaction faster. So I am very curious as to how the deployment is faster on some networks as opposed to others. That's something I've always been curious about. But it's good to see the continuing work on these networks to get them to click properly. Like I said, I'll reemphasize this point. I think we are about to enter an era in the market where these networks finally realize what they are best at. It's a natural evolution of things, especially when you're getting into business endeavors. Perfect example. Take a look at how this channel has evolved over the last 5 years. I have figured out there are things I'm great at, and there are things that I am not good at all. Okay? Y'all can point them out to me. But this is just the nature of the beast. So, down the line, I could see this coming to Hedera. Or I could see Hedera as being positioned as a software registry, if that's the proper term, for companies that go to Archax. Let's say they want history of the performance of their offerings. All that information is stored and can be verified on blockchain, on a ledger, and that ledger be Hedera. It would look a lot like what Franklin Templeton and Stellar Lumens are doing. Where, remember, in 2019, Franklin built on top of Stellar on their own. They bought a bunch of Stellar, created a trust line, then started tweaking from the inside and created their own product. Then Franklin Templeton went to Stellar, had the conversation, and the transactions in that offering were then added onto Stellar's blockchain, and now our Stellar is the primary database for that offering. So I could see Hedera landing in a similar spot to that when it comes to capital markets and RWA plays. So Archax, keep your eyes on them. Keep your eyes on Archax for sure. And the key piece, though, of all of this is the United Kingdom is moving lockstep with the United States and the EU when it comes to a digital asset framework. So we may be in the preliminary phases, the preliminary stages of all of this. Now, by 2030, guys, I'm curious to see what the gripes will be. I'll just put it that way, because there will be so much positivity in the market. There will be so many things that we can point to and say, look, this is what blockchain does, or this is what Hedera does, or this is what Stellar does. There'll be so much of that.